Hello everyone and welcome to this video. So in this video, we are going to discuss about a very important concept about ethical hacking and cybersecurity, which is CIA Triad. So what is CIA? As you can see into the picture, CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity and availability. Now, these three are considered to be the fundamental pillars for information security. Let's understand each one of them in depth. Let's quickly begin with confidentiality. So what is confidentiality? So let's take an example. So let's take an example of two users, Bob and Alice. They both wants to make a communication between them. And let's say they are the modern day Bob and Alice. So they're going to use Facebook to talk. So Bob sends a message to Alice, which is hi. In this case, I do not want to read that message. Or maybe let's say I want to read that message. Does Bob wants me to read that message? No. Does Alice wants me to read that message? Obviously not. So this way, the message which is intended for the recipient, which is Alice, from the sender, which is Bob, is only between them. This way, confidentiality is being maintained by Facebook. So, the basic definition of confidentiality is that any data that has been processed or is processing between two parties, A and B, should always remain confidential and no third party unauthorized access should be allowed. Only those two parties who are involved into the communication can be able to see what the message contains. So this is a very simple definition of confidentiality. To sum up, there should be confidentiality between two parties of whatever data has been flowing between them. Let's quickly move on to the second principle, which is integrity. So what is integrity? So integrity basically means that the file type or the data should never be changed. If there is any modification or alteration into the data, that is either be in static or it's in motion, which is flowing between one party to another, should always remain intact and same. Now let me give you a very basic example. Let's say you go onto your browser and you want to download a movie. So you searched for that specific movie. You went onto a website. Once you clicked on to the download button, something started downloading. After a few minutes, you see the download has been completed and the file that is downloaded is not a MP4 video. Instead, it is movie.exe. Now, in this manner, you have downloaded something else, which means the integrity has been compromised. When you wanted to download a movie, but instead you got something else, the file has been modified while it was coming from the server to you. In the similar manner, hackers sometimes change the files onto the servers. They hack into the server, and once they have the unauthorized access, they modify the files or sometimes modify the source code and inject their backdoors into the application. This way, those applications or software that you're going to access are being compromised and does not contains it integrity. So you should always be aware that if anytime there is any modification or alteration done into any data, that should be discarded and should not be used. So CIA Triad's integrity principle says this, that if there is any change into the data, that is alteration or modification, if the data is static or in motion, then the data should not be used and should be discarded. I hope you guys understood integrity. Let's move on to availability. So what is availability? A very simple principle. Any data which is onto the internet should always be available. For example, if I give you a very simple example, Let's say you have completed your exams. Let's say you have completed your 10th standard or 12th standard and you're waiting for your results. And the date comes, your friend calls up and says that I have checked my result. You also check it. You go onto the website and you see the website does not load at all. Why? Because there are a lot of users who are accessing the same website or the same resource altogether, which basically means a lot of IP addresses are trying to access the same resource. This way, the server has got overwhelmed and is not able to serve all the IP addresses altogether. Let's assume the server is running on a specific version of software, which is Apache Web Server, which is only able to serve 1000 IP addresses at a time. So if you are the 1001th user onto the web application or the website of the board exam, then you will not be able to see the website or its resources. It will only say you internal server error 404 or try again later, or the website will keep on loading until it sees that any other user goes from the website, and then the website will serve you the resource. Now, what do we learn from this? We learn that there should be always availability of any resource or data that has been onto any particular organizations. So this way, the availability should not be compromised. Now, we use these three principles in information security in identifying the severity of the vulnerabilities. Also, we use this in identifying the score of how bad is going to be the impact based on if the confidentiality has been compromised by any specific attack or vulnerability, if the integrity has been compromised, or the availability has been compromised. So, this was the CIA Triad. I hope you guys understood this. Thank you.